The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
It's a very clear-cut cover-up, even more clear-cut than Benghazi.
An explosive new report says the White House was involved in the Secret Service prostitution scandal in Colombia and then covered it up.
There's no indication that any member of the White House advance team engaged in any improper conduct or behavior.
Was the Obama administration lying? We'll tell you.
He's a poor black man. He had a very deep accent coming from West Africa. And I believe that they didn't believe that he deserved the care that everybody else should get.
The family of Thomas Duncan, the Texas Ebola patient who died yesterday, claims he got shoddy treatment because he was black. Geraldo Rivera will be here to analyze.
There's a lot of terrorism going on and being promoted in the identity movement and white supremacist groups within Christianity itself.
A far-left zealot makes the outrageous allegation that Christians are just as bad as radical Muslims when it comes to terrorism. We'll tell you all about it tonight. Caution, you're about to enter the no-spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Eric Bolling in for Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Let's get right to our top story. A brand new scandal for the Obama administration. A stunning report by the Washington Post alleges a White House aide was involved in the Secret Service's prostitution scandal in Colombia. The administration found out, and then they covered it up because it would negatively affect the 2012 presidential election. At the time, President Obama and the administration denied any of its staff members were caught up in the controversy.
There have been no specific, credible allegations of misconduct by anyone on the White House advance team or the White House staff. Nevertheless, out of due diligence, the White House counsel's office has conducted a review of the White House advance team, and in concluding that review came to the conclusion that there's no indication that any member of the White House advance team engaged in any improper or conduct or behavior.
Well, joining us now from the Washington Post newsroom, one of the reporters who broke the story, David Nakamura. David, thank you very much. A big story, big, huge story. I read the whole thing.
Thanks, Eric.
Fantastic report, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so you heard Jay Carney say there was no involvement by the White House. They knew no involvement. Yet in your story, you say specifically David Nyland, lead investigator, was told to, and I'm quoting, quote, withhold and alter certain information in his report because it was potentially damaging to the administration. Now, that is a hefty claim. You want to tell us how you got that information?
Absolutely. There's two things going on here, Eric. One, there was the initial review that Jay Carney talked about that happened in the days after this trip in the wake of the Secret Service scandal. The White House, as you said, came out very definitively. It said there was no evidence. What they didn't say was the Secret Service director himself, in talking to his own investigators, said there was evidence and presented it to the White House. The White House chalked it up to little more than what they called rumor in my interview with them. Subsequently, after Jay Carney's statement that you heard, the Secret Service director came back and presented more evidence. The White House again interviewed some of the people, including Jonathan Dock, the person on the advance team, and again said they had no reason to believe he had done any misconduct. Separately, the Inspector General, as you said, came up with additional evidence in his own review. He said he presented it in a draft report in the fall of 2012, and his superiors instructed him to remove this information and to delay the final report until after the 2012 election. Now, that was his charge. It's been disputed by others in the IG's office, but that's what Congress is concerned about.
That's the most important point of this whole report is he was specifically told to delay, withhold, and alter this report until after the election. Who was he told to do this? Who instructed him to do that?
This investigator, Dave Nyland, told Congress in a briefing to congressional investigators that were overseeing a broader review of the IG's office at that time, of the Department of Homeland Security. It was a broader review, but in this specific allegation, he said he had been instructed by his superiors. He said that instruction came within, from his understanding, 24 hours of his superiors having briefed then Homeland Security Director Janet Napolitano. He does not say directly that she ordered it. He just said that it happened within 24 hours of that briefing of what he had found, and that he was told by his superiors to remove it. Now, Janet Napolitano has told us she in no way ordered it to be removed. She completely denies this happening, as do his superiors. His superiors were ultimately fired on their own right for broader reasons, and this investigator, Dave Nyland, though he was placed on administrative leave, which he says he thought was retaliatory for the concerns he raised about this.
So this investigator investigates what he's told to investigate, comes up with some ideas. He's told to delay them, and then he's subsequently put on a leave. And 10 were fired. Talk to us a little about that. There were 10 people fired surrounding this whole investigation.
10 people were fired. There were people fired in the Inspector General's office. 3 were put on leave. What the Inspector General's office said at the time was unrelated to this, the concerns they raised about this Secret Service, the scandal in Cartagena and the White House potential involvement. But those who were disciplined believed that they were being retaliated against for raising the flags about the White House involvement. There were some disputes inside the office of, do we have jurisdiction over the White House? We only oversee the Secret Service and DHS. That's why we have to take it out. But this investigator was adamant we have to include this. More broadly, there were people in the management ranks that lost their jobs, but again, there were other issues cited for, in part, why they were let go. But this investigator did feel like he was being retaliated against, and there were those in Congress who heard his direct testimony, private testimony that we've since learned about, who do believe that he's faced repercussions. Congress officially could come to no conclusion in their own review of this, as we point out in our story. They came to no decision one way or the other, but there are those who remain concerned, especially among the Republicans in the Oversight Committee in the Senate, and who've asked the White House to provide all their documentation of their own review, which was, again, the separate review by the White House counsel.
So let's talk about some of the reasons why he was being leaned on so hard. What did he find? He found this Jonathan Dock that you told us about, you mentioned a minute ago, 25-year-old son of a major Obama donor who is part of an advance team that goes to Colombia, and allegedly he was either seen or had spent some time with a prostitute, and that looked bad to the administration.
What they found, and the Secret Service director also found, as well as the IG, that there were documents from the hotel, the presidential hotel. The president had not arrived yet, but the advance team was staying at that hotel. There was a documentation that this individual, his room number 513 at the Hilton, had registered a woman as an overnight guest. And the reason they do that in Cartagena, prostitution is legal, but the hotels require documentation when a guest brings them to the hotel. So this room number where Jonathan Dock was staying had registered a guest according to hotel logs, which were turned over to investigators both from the Secret Service and the IG. So they both determined that. The IG also went down to Cartagena, the IG investigator Dave Nyland, and talked to not only hotel staff of what they saw, what they heard. They were told that the individual in that room had presented his Hilton honors card to get the fee waived for an overnight guest. More evidence that it may indeed be the person in that room. They had documentation of who was staying in the room. And they also this investigator talked to a Secret Service agent who was staying at the hotel, who was not otherwise implicated in this scandal, who told him that he had seen Jonathan Dock with a woman he believed to be a prostitute. Now, again, Jonathan Dock and his lawyers say in no way is the underlying charge accurate, that they don't know what happened, but he certainly did not have a guest.
He got his fee. He got the fee waived for a guest in room 513 in Columbia, but there was no one else staying there. I have to leave it there, Jonathan. We also need to point out that Jonathan Dock works in the Obama administration right now as, get this, Office of Women's Global Issues at the State Department, and his father as well. David Nakamura, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, next on the rundown, the family of Thomas Duncan, the dead Ebola patient in Texas, claims he didn't get proper care because of his race. Geraldo Rivera weighs in when the facts comes right back.